Good morning. Today is March 20th, 2022. It's officially the first day of spring for us. And tomorrow is supposed to be officially the last day of frost for us here in zone 8A. But the forecast still has at least one day that's down to 35 in the next week. And I have known it here in Texas to do whatever it wants to, even into April with frost. So this is the state of the garden right now. The apple tree, I had it pruned during the winter and it has already been budding for a couple weeks now. We did have at least two nights of temperatures in the 20s. So it looks like some of the petals have gotten maybe problems in the cold, but these ones are looking nice. So we'll see if we get any apples off of this. I'm checking now to see if anything looks like it has already been pollinated and turning. I don't see any quite yet that look like it, but we'll see. All right, and then out here on the fence line, the blackberry bushes, they die out like this in the fall. Usually leaves are leaves. And then this is a little bit of regeneration that's now already started. Sorry, dog's bumping the camera here. Along the lines. So these shoots will fruit this year. Although again, I don't know if disease or just me bad pruning killed off a lot of the crop from last year, so we are left with only a couple of canes still standing. So this will be a diminished crop from usual. And you can see the poles here I haven't put back in position. So everything in the garden is kind of just weathered where it's been, and now we need to make preparations to get the garden back into a good condition. Again, you don't have to be Martha Stewart or Betty Crocker, have your garden look like it belongs in a magazine for it to be practical and grow stuff for you. So you can see I've got a pile of old straw and debris from me raking things up here. The ground still has a lot of dead grass on it that I need to rake up and get out of the way. I let the leaves, I threw a whole bunch of raked up leaves on here from my tree out front, and you can see that they haven't decomposed completely over the winter. So over here on the sides, this is just where some flowers grow that are bulbs. So the bulbs will come up through all that. I won't have to worry about it. But there are some weeds already coming up, like right here, that we need to take care of. And then all of the planting area in here, I need to rake out and get all of the grass that's now come into it and the weeds like that out of the way. Now there were a lot of sunflowers that grew in here over the fall, and so the heads are still in here, and they may have seeded the whole area. So who knows how many unwanted sunflower seeds we're going to have that spring up. I've already raked under a couple of areas of plants that have come up unwanted. Sorry, I'm getting stuck on bushes here. All right, here's another of the berry bushes that came up in the wrong spot. It's not supposed to be along the front fence here. It's supposed to be back along that fence. The roots, though, they go deep and they crawl out. I left it here since so much of the other ones had died off. So this year I'm going to allow it, but next year, nixing it. Now the herb boxes, because they are raised beds, they probably have been a little bit lacking in nutrients since they don't get fertilizer or access to the real dirt underneath. So I went ahead and put new soil on top of them. And this is just some of the plants from underneath breaking through. I think that's some of the chives or onions that were planted there last year. So I've not planted those boxes yet, just put new soil in. And then I've got lots of these cages just laying around on the ground waiting for tomato plants, pepper plants, peas, those type of things. So got all that to deal with. Now this area here in the fall, I had put down, sorry, move that thing out of the way. I had put down garlic. I had planted garlic in this whole area right in here. And I don't know if this is some garlic coming up or if this is another weed right here. So when I get to clearing all this stuff out, we will find out what's underneath, what's coming up. So I'm not gonna disturb the soil here, but I will move some of the top stuff off. Now underneath the apple tree, where you can see the apple sign, my nieces made those, they were so cute, is the asparagus bed. And you can see the old asparaguses here that have been chopped off. And then right here you can see one of the newer asparaguses that have already come up for the spring. And right now that's a little skinny guy, those are skinny guys, so I'm gonna leave them alone. So they will grow, and next year or the year later, they'll be fat enough to be able to cut down around this time of the year and eat. Whereas like this one coming through the dirt right now, he's a little bit fatter, but still not ideal for cooking. So again, we'll leave him alone as well. And so spring is when you'd get asparagus. And there is, or was, an anthill in this whole area here. So I'm just gonna be cautious with my steps because I am in sandals. I do not want to get bit by ants. And this is what, when the asparagus seeds, these are the little asparagus shoots that come up the first year from those seeds. So that's nice that we're getting new asparagus plants under here as well. And you can see this asparagus right there. He must have come up and then got hit by the frost. So, but he lived. Okay, here's almost an edible size one right there. So, but I'm gonna leave that one alone. You kind of have to hunt for these things and come check out every day to see what you got in the garden. And collect them over a week or so before you have enough to eat when you have a small patch like this. All right. And then my Aframe here, nothing really grew on it last year except for this flower that my neighbor had given me that lined up the side of it. So it's got a whole bunch of grass underneath, and last year I used this as my compost section right there. And then it's got onions that are still growing from last year's onions. So what I think I need to do is take the whole frame down, rake up all this grass so that it's out of the way, and I think I will reestablish compost pile in this section here, and then put the frame back up. I'd like to be able to plant lettuce and colder weather crops in this area so that they can be sheltered by whatever climbs up the A-frame, so that the summer sun doesn't hit them too bad and I get a little bit longer season for the colder crops. At least that's a plan. I did cut back the blackberry bush that was the vining kind that usually grows on this trellis and that trellis. These are just some sticks that are left over from pruning trees. And you can see right here what one of the apple branches fell on the trellis when they were chopping off the apple tree. You can see it's nice and chopped there. And then of course we got our sprinkler waiting for us to need it. Dogs are being patient as well. Now I've got bird feeders up. The birds do come and help eat the bugs out of the garden, but they also eat my vegetables. So Kind of a love-hate relationship there. But the birds right now don't like sunflower seeds, so they keep throwing the sunflower seeds on the ground. We also have squirrels that dig through and make messes as well. Over here, the grapevine, I had pruned it back. I wait each year for it to die off in the fall, and then in the middle of the winter I come and cut back the stems on it. So this is what it currently looks like. You leave sections along it for it to regrow. You know, don't cut it completely back like this everywhere, or else you're not going to have any shoots. But you leave shoots like this with little spots that they can re-establish, and you're good. So got 2 branches coming off. Actually, it's like a one body down there, and then 2 that come up this way and 2 that go up that way. And then I usually cut off anything that grows below this line, so that there's nothing on the lower branches at any time, and then the upper branches get to do their thing and wrap around these frames. And I usually have fishing wire wrapped around it so that they can attach to that too, like this. But every year when I prune it back, this fishing wire gets ripped and snagged, and so it doesn't look as pretty as it should either, but it still functions and serves its purpose, so we're going to leave it alone. Alright, this is the back side of the garden. Again, you can see the onions that survived from last year growing right there. And what we need to do to get this garden ready for planting. And it is supposed to rain really well tomorrow, so I'm hoping we can tackle all this today and get her done. Again, I won't be planting anything this week, but I want to get the soil ready for when the time does come. And I need to make a plan of what we're putting where. Any suggestions? Comment below.